And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Board of County Commissioners Board Work Session for June 24th, 2020. This is the Black Lake Special Use District request for a bond, and there'll be follow-up and a decision made eventually. If you'd like to join us by conference call, the phone number is 360-252-9020, and your PIN is 1234. I'm Commissioner John Hutchings, the chair of the board. Also present is Vice Chair Commissioner Ty Mensner, Commissioner Gary Edwards, County Manager Ramiro Chavez, and Assistant County Manager Robin Campbell. And Ramiro, will you hit everybody else that I've missed?
I think you just have everybody, commissioners. We have representatives from the Black Lake Committee, and I will ask them to mute themselves and block the video. And they're available if the commissioners have any particular questions related to this proposal.
All right, and I see Elizabeth Petrich, our Deputy Prosecuting Attorney, and Brian Wamofsky has joined us as well. So with that, do you want to go ahead and begin and frame it for us?
Yeah, as you may recall, this is a follow-up that you received a briefing a couple of weeks ago with the Black Lake Special Use District. Before this meeting, you had a briefing related to the Long Lake Management District. And it's the same request that you will hear today. It will be related to additional fees associated with the Black Lake Management District. But just as a matter of clarification, and perhaps the public can hear this, it's two different lake districts. The Long Lake Management District, as called, is the county provides the support. The county is the fiduciary responsible party. I will ask for those who have joined via phone to mute yourselves, please. I'll mute you. There you go. And that is the difference, because the Black Lake Special Use District, the county does not take any management responsibilities of that. It's a self-governed entity, and that's how it was created. How this brings to your attention, you as a legislative authority needs to take action in any fees imposed across the county, regardless of the entity. So that's how everything comes together before you. So it's two different approaches, but perhaps the same request for the Board of County Commissioners. So I believe Tim is going to lead us through a PowerPoint presentation so you can hear the proposal.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tim Wilson, Water Resources Manager, Public Works. We also have Paula Cracknell, who's the Aquatic Resource Specialist with the Lakes and Noxious Weed and Lakes program. Looks like we have maybe 3 participants from Black Lake Special District. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here with you. And are you seeing that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so again, we're here to talk about Black Lake Special District. The bottom line up front, the governing board of the Black Lake Special Use District approved resolution 19-01 in December of last year. And that resolution requests the Board of County Commissioners authorize the issuance of a $1.4 million bond with a 20-year term to fund water quality improvements. And those water quality improvements are very similar to what you just heard from Long Lake. So a little bit of history regarding the Black Lake Special District. The Board of County Commissioners approved formation of the district in 2013 and adopted a rate structure for affected parcels. As Ramiro mentioned, a special use district is very different than a lake management district. The special use districts are governed by RCW 8538. They are generally self-governed, and LMDs are governed by a different RCW and fall under the purview of the county for government. Black Lake, similar to Long Lake, has experienced frequent toxic algae blooms within their lake, and that's what they're hoping to address with this bond. So a little bit about the authority for bonds to be authorized. RCW 8538-230 states that a special district may issue a special assessment bond or notes to finance costs related to providing, improving, expanding, or enlarging improvements in facilities if the county legislative authority within which all or the major part of the special district is located authorizes the issuance of such bonds or notes. The decision of a county legislative authority authorizing or failing to authorize a proposed issue of special assessment bonds or notes constitutes a discretionary function. So if the board were to move forward with this, the process as outlined by 8538 would be that the county engineer shall prepare a preliminary system or systems of assessment. That step in this process has already been performed in conjunction with Black Lake Special District and is attached to your presentation. So at the end of your notes, you'll find the system that takes into account the affected parcels and what the effect would be. The next step would be that the legislative authority would hold a public hearing on the preliminary assessment following 2 weeks notice. And similar to what we would do for Long Lake, the notice of the hearing and amount of the assessment would need to be mailed to each owner. And that is an action that would be done by the Board of County Commissioners rather than the board of the special use district. And I believe Elizabeth is on here. So Elizabeth, please chime in if I'm misstepping here somewhere. Number 4 would be the legislative authority has broad discretion to adopt or not adopt an ordinance, finalizing the assessments and authorizing the bond. So a little bit about the impact to the ratepayers. It was determined by the commissioners of the special use district that the properties that would receive benefit or the most benefit from the improvements would be the 179 lakefront property owners. So in order to service the bond, they would be required to raise $103,000 annually for 20 years via the special assessment. The bond cannot be serviced by their operational rates and charges that they currently have. The 2 properties most impacted would have annual payments of $17,736. That's Department of Fish and Wildlife property, and $8,931. That's the Thurston County property. Of the remaining 177 parcels, the average annual charge per parcel would be $431. And similar to Long Lake, the next steps would be for staff to submit an AIS requesting authorization to advertise for and hold the public hearing for 8538. We would recommend if we're to move forward with that we do that sometime in July. The notices would be mailed to each affected ratepayer. And again, following the public hearing, the Board of County Commissioners can choose to either authorize or not authorize the issuance of the bond. And with that, I would open it up to any questions. And just as a reminder, and if I need to scroll through, I certainly can, the resolution from Black Lake Special Use District is attached to your presentation documents, as is the preliminary spreadsheet of rates.
Thank you, Tim. I'll start with questions from my seatmates. Any questions or comments? Commissioner Menser?
No, we've had a couple of briefings about this, so I'm familiar with what they want to do and why.
Okay, Commissioner Edwards, any questions or comments?
On the impact of the bond to the ratepayers, under that last bullet, remaining 177 parcels, that's the average cost to each one of those parcels would be approximately $431 per year.
That's correct.
And the properties above, so then the two properties that are impacted, both the state and the county, that as well is an annual payment, right?
That would be an annual payment. So if you scroll, are you seeing my screen?
See that you have a copy.
I do.
Okay, it's probably very small, and I apologize for
Yeah,
that.
I've got a copy of it here too.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so this is the role of affected parcels. It goes on for, I believe, 3 pages here, 4 pages. But the parcels at the top are the Fish and Wildlife property and the county property. The additional properties are on there. The middle column would be the annual cost for 20 years. And the column to the right would be per RCW in our mailing to the ratepayers that are affected. We need to show the impact per $1,000 of assessed value. So that is what the column to the right represents.
Is that it, Gary?
Well, that is gonna add up to a substantial amount then for each one of those individual properties that are on the upper end of this, is that right?
Yeah, that's a fair statement. So
Okay, I'll just want to use it as an example. So some of these properties that are, say, above the $10 bracket, those are properties that probably have a pretty nice house on them. Is that what the deal is?
I would assume that's the case. Brian from Black Lake may be able to speak more to that and what those properties are. I did not go through and look property per property, so I can't really speak to that.
And other than the three, I guess my next question would be, other than the
Well,
three.
hang on, Gary.
Oh, go ahead.
Can Brian answer that first question that you just asked?
Sure.
Go ahead and unmute yourself, Brian. Brian, you're muted. And I don't do sign. Okay, go ahead with your next question, Gary.
So once we have if we set a hearing for this, then we'll have public testimony to come in regard to the impact. And I guess, contrary to what we just went through over on Longway, we were told that they had
He just came up. Hold on just a sec though.
Hold on, Brian. Go ahead, Gary.
they had a meeting over there that was their annual meeting, and 100% of those people that participated in that meeting supported the move of additional rates. I'm just wondering if they had anything similar to that for Black Lake, some type of an annual meeting or anything that we can get some sense of what the community feels.
Okay, so Brian, I think the first question is the 2 parcels
Right.
that stand alone. Go ahead.
So the two parcels, one is the state boat launch, and then the other one, I believe, is Kennydale County Park.
Yes.
So they're taxed based on because all the people that come in, the majority of the people that come in and utilize the lake are impacting those 2 entrance points. So they're at a higher rate structure already. And as far as the $431 per the average per the other 177 lots, they're already paying close to that amount. The amount that we're going to move into this bond I believe they only have to pay about an extra $6 a month. So they're already paying that. It's not like they're going to have to come up to 431.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Okay, you bet.
So,
I-
just, oh, I'm sorry.
All right, go ahead, Ty.
Well, Tim, go ahead, because it sounds like I'm trying to change topics.
Okay.
Well, just to follow up on that, and there's been a lot of discussion about this, and I think Elizabeth may want to chime in as well. But basically, there's two actions that would be occurring here. One would be for you, the Board of County Commissioners, to authorize this special assessment that would have these fees associated per parcel. And then I think, and Brian can correct me if I'm wrong, simultaneously, the commissioners for the Black Lake Special Use District will be, in effect, reducing the maintenance and operation charges, annual maintenance and operation charges, to reduce those fees, those annual charges to the parcels on the lake. So in effect, like Brian mentioned, for the average of those parcels, it shouldn't be a significant impact if they were to go forward and reduce those rates.
Okay, wait, hang on.
Hutch, can I follow up? I didn't get an answer on if they had a
Yeah.
lake meeting.
Yes.
Was there a similar meeting that took place with the Black Lake folks? Whether you know or not, but I mean, in Long Lake, they had an annual meeting. 100% of the participants at the annual meeting supported what they were asking the commission to do. I'm just wondering if you guys had an annual meeting or any other mechanism in place to find out what the rough support might have been versus opposition.
I could answer that.
Yeah,
Okay,
go ahead. I
sure.
wanted to know
So-
also how controversial this is going to be, if at all.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's been overwhelmingly supported. They've been driving us to it. And, honestly, and I remember saying this before, and you guys have probably seen this, we do have an annual meeting every year. And at our last, we haven't had one this year, but at our last annual meeting, everybody was positive for it. The people that attend have largely been driving it. And we've had, close to nothing in opposition whatsoever. So it's very positively, it's not hard to get on board when you walk out and there's green scum all over everything. And it's sort of a no brainer. So we've had unanimous support to this point as well.
Okay, thank you, Brian.
Okay, go ahead, Ty.
Yeah.
This discussion was just triggering my recollection of one of our previous briefings, where I think the issue that we hadn't resolved coming out of that was how to structurally we had the same rate had to be charged to everyone, but you wanted to credit the people that weren't lakefront, and everybody was going to kind of try to find a way to make that work. And did that get resolved? And
So yes. And so, I'm gonna let Lake Stinzy talk about that. He is our numbers guy who's worked closest with Tim. But basically, we're reducing the rates and charges and putting the fees they're already paying into this bond. And we only really need $23,000 more, which if you divide it out over all the lots comes out to about $6 extra a month. But Lake, would you like to add into that at all? Hope he's there.
Well, I'm not sure.
Yeah, that was a pretty complete answer though,
okay.
on what we've done. So yeah, we did solve it. We worked with Tim. I can tell Tim understands it by his description.
So when my question, this is probably for Tim and or Romero. When we do what we need to do in our 4-step process, this will still give sufficient time for application of, for alum treatments in the spring or fall?
For next year.
Maybe next year.
That'll be next year?
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna be able to implement that. For them to treat the lake this year.
Okay.
So, but I
Yeah,
think
they wouldn't do it in the spring. I was just wondering about the fall. Okay. Any other questions or comments from the commissioners? All right, Brian, any follow-up comments?
No, I think those are just, that was, we sort of left the last meeting just with, the rates and charges being moved over to the bonds. And I believe Tim and Lake have that all squared away. So I
Okay,
think that's it.
thank you. Tim, anything?
Yeah, I would just add real quick, just for the benefit of the members of the special use district. One of the challenges, I guess, in getting outreach to the public is, again, this is action by two different boards, their board and you as the Board of County Commissioners. So the advertisement per RCW that will need to go out to advertise for the public hearing will speak only to the special assessment. They may need to do or want to do some simultaneous mailings or outreach that represents, that this isn't additional, that they will be taking some steps to reduce maintenance and operation charges. And that, I just want to make it clear that that I don't think we're able to merge those two messages in our mailing from the Board of County Commissioners.
Okay,
Sure, we can do that.
so the options that we have are do nothing or authorize staff to submit the EIS to advertise and move on with the process. And Romero, go ahead.
Yeah, my recommendation is for you to direct the staff to submit an AIS for you to set a public hearing. And at that point, you actually will hear from the individuals affected by this proposal as to how they feel. And that is the purpose of a public hearing. That will be my suggestion at this point.
All right. Are the commissioners on board with that?
Could I make one comment on that? If we move forward, would we set the public hearing the same date we're doing Long Lake, or could we have those separate so that we could have two different time frames involved? Otherwise, things might get confused.
We'll set it up differently.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, well, with that, it looks like you're having thumbs up to get this move forward.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Brian, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
And the same with you, Paula and Elizabeth and Robin, Ty and Gary and Tim. Thank you all very kindly. And this meeting is adjourned.